A very good morning. You're watching Breakfast News with me, Smriti Rastogi. In the next 30 minutes, we will get you all the latest developments which occurred through the night and, of course, what all news is expected in the day ahead. But before that, a quick look at the top headlines. Scrutiny of nominations for the presidential elections today. Voting takes place on July 17th. Election dates for vice presidential polls to be announced. Cabinet approves 7th Pay Commission recommendation. Central government employees. Government rejects demands for deferring GST rollout. Mega rehearsal for June 30th midnight launch. TMC to skip launch event. Congress and left undecided. India's latest communication satellite GSAT-17 successfully launched from spaceport of Kourou in French Guiana. Third satellite launch by ISRO this month. And Italy threatens to stop vessels of other countries from bringing migrants to its ports. Italy's EU representative warns the situation has become unsustainable. The scrutiny of nominations for the presidential polls takes place today. A total of 95 people have filed their nominations and 108 sets have been filed in all. Opposition candidate Meera Kumar filed her nomination papers on the last day of filing nominations on Wednesday in the presence of Congress President Sonia Gandhi and a number of opposition leaders. 17 political parties have selected her as their presidential candidate against NDA's Ramnath Kovind. Kovind filed his nomination papers on June 23rd. President is elected by an electoral college that is formed by 776 parliamentarians and 4,120 legislators. Election for the next president of India will be held on July 17th. Counting of votes will take place on July 20th. President Pranab Mukherjee will demit office on July 24th. Meanwhile, Ramnath Kovind will visit Panchkula today to meet legislators and MPs from Punjab and Haryana as a part of his outreach effort before the polls. Opposition candidate Meera Kumar filed her nomination papers for the presidential elections on Wednesday. Meera Kumar was jointly fielded by 17 opposition parties, including the UPA, against NDA's candidate Ramnath Kovind.
Former Lok Sabha Speaker and five-time Lok Sabha MP Meera Kumar filed her nomination for the presidential polls on Wednesday. She filed her papers in the presence of top Congress leaders, including party President Sonia Gandhi and former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. Backed by 17 opposition parties, Meera Kumar will contest against NDA's candidate Ramnath Kovind. She said the election will be a battle of ideologies based on democratic values, inclusiveness in society and freedom of the press and individuals.
हमारी लड़ाई जो हम हमेशा रेखांकित करते रहे हैं कि विचारधारा की लड़ाई है, वो शुरू हो जाती है। देश चौराहे पर खड़ा है। एक ओर का रास्ता हमें ले जाता है उस ओर जहां संकीर्णता है, तंगदिली है, तंग विचार है और गरीबों और दलितों और दबे हुए लोगों की कोई सोच नहीं है। दूसरा रास्ता हमें ले जाता है उस तरफ जहां जो दलित हैं, गरीब हैं, कमज़ोर हैं, मजलूम हैं, महिलाएं हैं, उनकी गरिमा, उनके अधिकार, उनके विकास की हम बात करें।
Standing alongside Meera Kumar on Wednesday were NCP's Sharad Pawar, CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri, Trinamool Congress leader Derek O'Brien and leaders from the DMK, SP, BSP, RJD and JMM.
हम लोग के लिए एक विचारधारा सूलों और सत्य के लिए लड़ाई और लड़ेंगे।
हम खड़े हैं उस तरफ जो इस संविधान की रक्षा करके इसको मजबूत करना चाहते हैं। दूसरी तरफ खड़े हैं वो जो संविधान की बुनियाद को ही वो जो है कमजोर करना चाहते हैं। लड़ाई वो है।
Meera Kumar will start her campaign from Gujarat's Sabarmati Ashram from Friday. She will also visit Mumbai, Bangalore and Bihar before wrapping up her campaign on July 15th, 2 days before the elections. Voting for the election for the 15th President of India will take place on July 17th. The results will be declared on July 20th. With Vikram Singh and Vishal Daya, Ravindra Shoran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu filed another set of nomination papers on behalf of NDA's presidential nominee Ramnath Kovind on the last day of filing nominations for the presidential elections on Wednesday. Naidu was accompanied by YSR Congress leader Raja Mohan Reddy and BJP leader and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anant Kumar. Kovind is currently campaigning across the country for the July 17th polls.
केवल हमारा 33 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज जो एनडीए में है, उसके अलावा 5 पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज जो एनडीए के बाहर है, वो लोग भी समर्थन देने के लिए घोषणा किया है.
The date for polling for the post of Vice President will be announced today by the Election Commission. The term of Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, who has held the post for 2 consecutive terms, is coming to an end on 10th of August. The Electoral College, which elects the Vice President, who is also the ex-officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha, consists of elected and nominated members of the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. The total strength of the 2 houses is 790, but there are some vacancies. Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari on Wednesday administered the oath of office and secrecy to 2 new members, BJP MP Bhavanand Singh from Manipur and Biju Janata Dal MP Pratap Keshri Dev from Odisha. The ceremony was conducted at the Rajya Sabha Chairperson's chamber in Parliament House.
Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari on Wednesday administered the oath to new members of the House, K. Bhavanand Singh of the BJP and Pratap Keshri Dev of the BJD. After the oath-taking ceremony, Bhavanand Singh, who is also the Manipur State BJP President, said resolving internal problems and raising issues relating to his state will be his first priority. He also listed providing job opportunities to the youth as the most important task at hand. This is the first time that the BJP has a member from Manipur in the Rajya Sabha.
लेकिन एम्प्लॉयमेंट का तो ज़रूर है, लेकिन एम्प्लॉयमेंट तो जनरेट करना पड़ेगा. We have to empower the people. We can't just create jobs. So we have to do such a way that we empower the people to get like skill development is there. So we have to put emphasis on that.
BJD leader Pratap Keshri Dev was elected uncontested from Odisha. While Bhavananda took the oath in Manipuri, Pratap Keshri Dev did so in his language Odia. Leader of the House Arun Jaitley and MOS Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi were also present at the ceremony. Ravindra Shoran's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The Union Cabinet on Wednesday approved the 7th Pay Commission recommendations on allowances for central government employees with 34 modifications. The revised rates will be effective from 1st of July. The move will benefit 34 lakh civilian employees and 14 lakh Defence Forces personnel. The Cabinet has also given in-principle approval for the disinvestment of the debt-ridden public carrier Air India. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said a group will be set up to finalize modalities and details of disinvestment, including the quantum of stake sale. The airline has a debt of more than 52,000 crore rupees. The decision was taken at a cabinet meeting chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi.
सिविल एविएशन मंत्रालय की जो प्रस्तावना थी कि फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर की अध्यक्षता में एक ग्रुप बने जो इसकी बाकी सारी मोडालिटीज को तय करे, उसको स्वीकार किया गया. कितना डिसइन्वेस्ट होगा, किस प्रक्रिया के माध्यम से होगा, उसके एसेट्स के संबंध में, उसके डेट के संबंध में, होटल कंपनीज के संबंध में, ये सारी जो प्रक्रिया और निर्णय हैं, ये अब ग्रुप लेगा.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on Wednesday rejected demands for deferring the goods and services tax rollout, saying Constitution did not give luxury to to delay the nation's biggest economic reform by 6 months. Business traders across several cities are protesting against the GST implementation, demanding more time to prepare. The opposition parties too have suggested that the government should consider delaying the GST launch, contending that the official machinery is not ready for the effective implementation. Jaitley, however, said the date for GST implementation rules and tax rates were decided through a consensus by the GST Council, which has representatives from each state. Meanwhile, a mega rehearsal was conducted on Wednesday night in the Central Hall of Parliament ahead of the gala launch of event on midnight of June 30th. The rehearsal was conducted to ensure that all things were in place during the main event. The opposition is likely to skip the event, with Congress and the left still undecided on the invitation. TMC has announced that it will not attend the event. Party's chief, Mamata Banerjee, termed the rollout as an epic blunder and said her party's decision not to attend the event was a mark of protest. The Jammu and Kashmir government will take a final call on implementation of GST today after a meeting of the all-party consultative group. Jammu and Kashmir is the only state which has not taken a call yet on the implementation of the GST. Earlier, Jaitley had written a letter to the Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti saying that failure of the state to implement the GST would lead to adverse impact of the price rise and put the local industry at a disadvantage.
I don't see much of a problem. Small issues will always arise whenever you make a change of any kind. But I'm sure that the system is fully geared up and the system will eventually smoothen itself out. And let me tell you, the date of implementation has also been decided by consensus by the GST Council, which means by the center and all the state governments.
India's latest communication satellite GSAT-17 was successfully launched from the spaceport of Kourou in French Guiana. GSAT-17 carries payloads in normal C-band, extended C-band and S-band to provide various communication services. It also carries equipment for meteorological data, relay and satellite-based search and rescue services provided by earlier INSAT satellites. GSAT-17 will strengthen ISRO's current fleet of 17 telecommunication satellites. This was the third satellite launched by ISRO this month, the other two being first developmental flight of GSLV-K3 and PSLV-C38 missions, both of which were launched from Sriharikota spaceport.
Right on time, well, with a 5-minute delay. Ariane 5 began her mission lifting off.
With that, we'll head into a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay with us.
What is BJP without Narendra Modi?
Modi ji is not separate from BJP.
There is an effort to homogenize the society into a Hindutva society based on the hatred for Muslims.
We have not imposed anything on the people. So our track record is the answer.
For the current government, Kashmir is only about Pakistan and terrorism.
People sitting in Delhi studios should understand that Kashmir is not a political issue.
Watch To The Point with National General Secretary of BJP, Ram Madhav, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Unakoti, the famous Shaiva pilgrimage spot in Tripura, dates back to the 8th and 9th century. The name means one less than a crore. It owes its origin to an interesting legend that says Lord Shiva, who was on his way to Kashi, stopped here for a night halt along with gods and goddesses. Together, their number totaled 1 crore. At sunrise the next day, Lord Shiva was incensed to find all the gods and goddesses still asleep. Cursing them to become stone images, he left alone for Kashi. Unakoti, apart from its rock-cut carvings, has an imposing Shiva head called the Unakotishwara Kal Bhairav. Other eye-catching works include 3 enormous images of Nandi bull that are half buried in the ground and a gigantic Ganesh. To this day, The logistics of these huge carvings remain a mystery.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha Television.
Gyan Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young, and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue, symbolized by the ladders, rewarded, while the vices shown by the snakes are punished. Each square, in turn, also narrates a message of wisdom. Welcome back. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat will visit Sikkim in the backdrop of standoff between Indian troops and Chinese army along the Sino-India border. He will take stock of the operational matters and interact with top commanders in the formation headquarters of the force in the border state. The visit comes amid mounting tensions between the two armies along the border in Sikkim, following a scuffle between the Indian troops and the personnel of China's People's Liberation Army in a remote area earlier this month.
The border standoff continues between India and China, even as Beijing used its state-run media to call India unruly and said it needs to be taught the rules. An opinion piece published by Chinese daily Global Times claimed that China usually avoids making an issue of border disputes. The article also said India can't afford a showdown with China on border issues. Besides calling India arrogant, the tabloid said India's GDP was only a quarter of China's. But it asserted that China had no desire to confront India. In another development, China justified road construction in Sikkim, claiming that the area was undoubtedly located on its side of the border under the 1890 Sino-British Treaty. On Tuesday, China lodged a diplomatic protest with India, accusing Indian troops of crossing the boundary in the Sikkim region and demanded their immediate withdrawal.
中方在北京和新德里都已经向印度方面提出了严正的交涉，表明了我们的严正的立场。我在这必须强调，中方对发展中印友好关系是有诚意的，同时中方维护自身主权权益的立场也是坚定不移的。
The Chinese statement comes a day after the Chinese military accused Indian troops of objecting to a road construction in what it claimed to be Chinese territory. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And 2 days after meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump, Pakistan has accused the US of speaking India's language and of dual standards on the issue of Kashmir. The Indo-US joint statement had sternly urged Islamabad to ensure that its territory is not used to launch terrorist attacks on other countries. Responding to this, Pakistan's Interior Minister Chaudhry Nisar said, and I quote, "It seems as though the blood of Kashmiris is not at all important to the US and international laws relating to human rights do not apply to Kashmir. Ignoring the worst form of state terrorism does not only mock justice and international norms, but also exposes the dual standards of those upholding human and democratic rights," unquote. Pakistan has also slammed Hizbul Mujahideen chief Syed Salahuddin being named a global terrorist by the US as completely unjustified. Both the Indo-US joint statement and the US action on Salahuddin are being seen as a major diplomatic victory for India, which has long accused Pakistan of backing terror in India and more specifically in Kashmir. Delhi Assembly Speaker Ram Nivas Goyal has ordered 1 month jail for 2 Aam Aadmi Party workers who hurled papers, missiles and raised slogans during the ongoing session of the Delhi Assembly on Wednesday. The men, who were identified as Aam Aadmi Party members, Rajan Kumar and Jagdeep Rana, were sitting in the visitors' gallery when they raised slogans against the Delhi government. Both of them were later marshalled out of the assembly and were allegedly thrashed by Aam Aadmi Party MLAs. The House was briefly adjourned after the incident and proceedings resumed later. The 2 men said that they took the step as they were unhappy with Arvind Kejriwal-led party and alleged corruption cases against the Delhi Minister Satyendra Jain.
तरीका गलत हो सकता है, लेकिन उन्होंने भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ अहिंसात्मक तरीके से अपनी बात उठाई है। उनको अंदर मार डाला जाएगा। जिस प्रकार से बंद करके हमले किए जा रहे हैं, मुझे नहीं लगता कि वो जिंदा भी बच पाएंगे।
ये स्पीकर की बहुत नाकामी है। विधानसभा के अंदर कोई इस तरह से घुस आए, पहले वो घुस आए, नारे लगाए और फिर एमएलए उसको पीटे, खूनो खून करें, उसको मारने तक जाएं। यह आज विधानसभा की गरिमा को सबसे बड़ी चोट लगी है।
A look at what else is making news across the country nationwide. Flood situation in Assam has worsened, with relief camps being set up in 5 of the 8 affected districts. Over 1 lakh people in 8 districts have been impacted by the floods, which have overrun 188 villages into a level. Around 400 people were stranded in Himachal Pradesh due to heavy rains. The people were stranded for several hours after the Manali-Leh National Highway was closed due to landslides triggered by heavy rains in the state. Teams of Border Roads Organisation and Lahaul and Spiti District Administration rushed to the spot and the blockade was cleared after about 10 hours. Two Naxals were killed in an encounter with security forces in Chhattisgarh's Rajnandgaon district. The encounter took place on Wednesday evening in the dense forest near Suktara village. The forces acted on inputs about the movement of Maoists in Gandai forest for the past few days. And shifting our focus on the international front, as the migrant crisis continues to jostle Italy, it has threatened to stop vessels of other countries from bringing migrants to its ports. Italy is citing unsustainable situation in the country as the reason for its latest action. Prime Minister Paolo Gentiloni has accused other European nations of looking the other way. An Italian Navy boat brought about 700 migrants to the Sicilian port of Pozzallo on Wednesday. Meanwhile, rescue workers recovered the bodies of 5 migrants on Wednesday and 24 on Tuesday. They had drowned in the Mediterranean Sea while trying to reach Europe. The bodies had washed up to the shores of Libya's town of Tajwara, just outside the capital Tripoli. Italy is the main point of arrival for mostly African migrants to Europe's shores this year, and more boats are sent out almost daily. All those rescued off the coast of Libya are brought to Italy. So far this year, more than 73,000 migrants have arrived in Italy by sea, a 14% increase over the same period in 2016, which turned out to be a record year with 181,000 arrivals.
انتشال الجثث من على شواطئ منطقة تاجورة وغوط الرمان لا زالت مستمرة، وعملية البحث تم اليوم انتشال عدد 5 جثامين، لكن لضيق الوقت ما زالت في جثامين منتشرة.
Tra l'altro per la prima volta ho dovuto chiedere l'intervento del 118 perché c'era un apparente codice rosso già al momento dello sbarco.
As a fresh wave of cyber attack wreaked havoc around the globe on Wednesday, crippling thousands of computers, the ransomware virus known as Petya disrupted operations at ports from Mumbai to Los Angeles. The attack has halted production of a chocolate factory in Australia and hit the property arm of France's largest bank, BNP Paribas. The virus is believed to have first taken hold in Ukraine. The malicious code logged machines and demanded victims post a ransom worth $300 in Bitcoin or lose their data entirely, similar to the extortion tactic used in the global WannaCry ransomware attack in May. More than 30 victims paid up, but security experts are questioning whether extortion was the goal, given the relatively small sum demanded, or whether the hackers were driven by destructive motives rather than financial gains. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has called for a strengthened collaboration on cyber defense and assured to provide help to Ukraine to improve its cyber defenses. Russian security firm Kaspersky said that the cyber virus involved a new and more sophisticated malware.
We have anonymous cyber foes, often sponsored by state or non-state entities, lurking behind a veil of encryption, targeting our national infrastructure, as we saw with the recent cyber strike on Parliament itself. That isn't a Cold War. That's a grey war, permanently teetering on the edge of outright hostility, hovering around the threshold of what we would normally consider to be an act of war.
Значит, мы видим, что этот вирус использует некоторые общие данные, что и троянец Петя, но технически он совершенно отличается. То есть его код и возможности намного шире, чем были в Пете, поэтому мы трактуем его как отдельное семейство и называем его Экспетр.
On to the sports. After beating England in their ICC Women's World Cup 2017 opener, India take on West Indies in their second match of the tournament today. The match will be played at County Ground Taunton at 3 p.m. Indian time. Indian women cricket team beat England in the opening match by 35 runs, while West Indies lost to Australia in the tournament opener by 8 wickets. Three-time champion Andy Murray has been seeded first in the men's singles of the 2017 Wimbledon Championships. This is the first time Murray has been seeded at the top at Wimbledon. Murray is followed by two-time champion Novak Djokovic and seven-time winner Roger Federer. In the women's singles, Angelique Kerber tops the seeding, followed by Simona Halep, Karolina Pliskova and Elina Svitolina. The championship will begin on July 3rd and conclude on July 16th. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Breakfast News. Keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.